online is ready or not, you're here. So thank you all for getting here early, by the way. That's very good. It's very good. So all right, he's on. Okay, I think I need to move over here. All right, welcome all, one and all, to Schofield's Church, to our cooking classes, which we love to do a couple of times a year. So today, the cooks tell me that someone had a medical something to be attended to, so they're frantic back there to pull it all together because one of our demonstrators won't be here. However, we're here, we're going to have fun, we're going to have food because I can smell it. Can you smell it? Yeah, so it's going to be good. Apparently it's, you tell me, what's it tonight? Looks Mexican, yeah? I think we're Mexican tonight. So now my topic is quick and easy. Now I'm going to do a bit of a play on words, but do you know, when we talk food these days, we want it to be good, right? We want it to be quick and we want it to be easy, all right? However, there is a problem. And I noticed this a few years ago. Hey, come on, wake up. Now it's my turn to be technically challenged. Here we go. I noticed a few years ago on the news there was talk about what they called grocery dead zones. All right, that's areas in our cities, particularly where it's further to the grocery store than it is to the takeaway. Right, so it's easier to get some takeaway, which may or may not be that healthy, you know, depending on what we're talking about. And it's easier to get that than it is to get fresh fruits and veggies. And, you know, proper good whole food. So that was really interesting. So they call those food deserts, right? Where there is food, but there's not necessarily nutrition. Now, we're all about nutrition here. So we like it to be good, but we like it to be good for you as well, right? And so I thought that was interesting. Well, when you think about what you can get quick, right? Fast food. I tried to find a good illustration of fast food. Is that a good one? Yeah? All right, so what does this food have in it? What can you see? Fat, salt, you know, sugars and starches. Yes, oil, processed seed oils, which are not the greatest, right? Bit of animal protein in there. What does it not have or not much of? Right? Your vitamins, minerals. What about antioxidants? Not a lot. There's a poor little piece of lettuce in there somewhere, holding out, you know. There might be a tomato, although I don't see one, you know, but there's something else that it's virtually completely missing. All right? Besides vitamins, besides antioxidants, you know, meaningful nutrition, there's something that's, yeah, it's not a nutrient, but it's important. Someone said it's fiber. You see, because no animal products have fiber, no sugary drinks have fiber, and all of the bread there is made from white flour, which virtually has no fiber, right? So it's actually missing fiber. And that's what I want to talk about tonight, is fiber, all right? So I did find, just looking in the USDA from America have nutrient quantities of foods. And so what you find is you compare the whole wheat with the white wheat. It's, you know, the bran and the fiber has been removed. And along with that, you lose a lot of vitamins, you lose minerals, and you lose most of your fiber as well, right? So I would like to illustrate that here. I went shopping and I got, somebody wanted to see my bread. I'm like, oh, leave it alone, it's my prop. Okay? At the shop, I found a nice, lovely loaf of sandwich bread, which all the kids in school, I remember when I was in school, they would eat and they would pull, you ever seen it? They would pull off the outside. I was like, but there's nothing in that anyway, right? So anyway, and you know, a slice of cheese and something else in there, and that was their sandwich. So this is about 650 grams, okay? Virtually no fiber in this, all right? Now this one, it's 700 grams, so almost the same weight, right? Somehow it feels heavier even though it's not really, right? But this has a lot of nice fiber in it. It's got, what has it got? It's wholemeal, it's got seeds in it, all right? And so I would like to illustrate the difference, physical difference in your food when you have fiber or not. And then we'll talk about what that means. All right? So first of all, I'm going to get a little cruel, and I'm going to do a compression test. All right? Now, both of these will compress down quite a bit, but we'll see what happens afterwards. All right? You ready? That's right. That's right. I told you I was going to do something. It's a waste, I know. All for science, right? All for science. Here we go. Here we go. Yeah, it is terrible, isn't it? I'm gluten-free, so I don't feel bad. I don't feel bad at all. That's why I didn't want you to touch it. Just leave my prop alone. Okay, there's the compression test for that one. Let's see what happens. Now, what about this one? Okay, that one's going to do its thing. Let's see what happens with this one. See, same amount. I'm going to push it down. All right. I think I gave an equal treatment to both of them, haven't I? Yep. All right. Let's see what happens. All right, as we go along. I did try this before, but we'll see. So yeah, I wasted 2 loaves of each. All right. So we'll see what happens when we have more fiber or less fiber. All right. Let them do their thing. So when we refine food, we tend to lose the fiber. All right. Now, we all know about this, right? You all know what fiber is, right? We all know what fiber is. Well, I thought I knew what fiber is too, right? But then I found out that there's fiber and there's fiber. There's different kinds of fiber, right? So I'll go through, give you a few, death by PowerPoint, give you a few slides here. So fiber is defined as the building blocks of plants that are indigestible to humans, right? That's fiber that we don't digest. Fiber is really important, but we know fiber as I think fiber, I think of celery strings, right? Something like that. It's this thing, that's fiber, right? Or leaves and things like that. But there's actually several kinds of fiber. It's known here, fiber is important. There's a couple of points there about it's important for digestive health, regular bowel movements, helps you feel fuller. It can have to do with cholesterol and blood sugar and reduce risk of bowel cancer, etc. Most Australians don't get enough. I think most people in Western countries don't get enough. I think that's fair to say, right? But what I found was really interesting was the different kinds of fiber, right? And there's 2 classes of fiber, and we're not going to get too technical, but they're called soluble and insoluble, okay? So my celery strings might be insoluble. They hold their shape. You can put them in water, but nothing happens, right? However, there's other kinds of fiber. So, you can think of, I have some plants here. I've got all the different vegetables, leaves. Actually, even this one, even the potato has fiber in it. Guess where most of the fiber of a potato is? In the skin, that's right, absolutely. So if you want the fiber from the potato, it's in the skin, right? So there's different kinds. You'll notice that they have different textures. For example, the texture of an onion. Do you ever notice the texture of an onion's kind of slippery, I guess you could say? I didn't want to say slimy, but it sort of is, right? And that's a different sort of composition of fiber, all right? But they're all plant fibers. Now, the soluble ones, water-soluble ones, are really interesting, all right? For example, I just love this one. All right, I've got my props here. I've got some chia seed. Now, you can see this. We've had this as a dessert here before, chia. So this is 1 tablespoon of chia seeds in water. And they've expanded, and the gel has come out of the seed, right? Did you know that's fiber as well? Do you know that? Yeah, that's fiber as well. So it has a different role than the celery strings, yeah? But that's also fiber. So your body doesn't digest it, and yet it's really good for you. Isn't that interesting? So we want to find out why. I also did the flaxseed, thank you. Someone's helping me out here. It's much the same, but this is 3 tablespoons. So and the water's not as thick. So it's not as dramatic as the chia, but it's the same sort of thing is in there. It's a fiber that comes out of the seed, right? It's a dietary fiber. It's good for you, but you can't digest it. Now, when I think fiber, I used to think of psyllium, If we ever had a bit of trouble, Mum used to mix some of this up in a fruit juice. and say drink plenty after it, you know. But slippery elm's another one. That's a kind of fiber. And we've demonstrated with some of these things that you can use them in food preparation, but they're actually good for you. So why is that? Well, why do I have it all backwards? Yeah, soluble fibers, insoluble fibers. I think we explained that well enough. Oh, pectin in the skin of the apple, that's another type of fiber. You hear about it, it's good for you. It's another type of fiber in different foods. Okay, so let's go to the good stuff. What does it do for me, all right? What does fiber do? Well, first of all, it adds mass or bulk, right, in the diet. So when you eat the food, it's not like say you get a bicky and the bicky is just starch, basically, sugars and starches, and it goes in and it becomes sort of pasty, becomes nothing. The fiber in the plant, because you're not digesting it, because it's holding its shape, it adds bulk. Why is bulk important? There's two things I'm thinking. I'm getting ahead of myself. The first one in the slide is that you actually get a sensation of feeling full, right? Helps you to actually feel full, right? Because it actually keeps that sort of shape and signals to your stomach that you've eaten, you're full of food. I'm going to go to the second to last point because the word bulk occurs there as well, right? It helps with your regularity of your bowel movements, alleviate constipation. You can understand this, and I'm going to use a more kosher demonstration, right? This is a tube of toothpaste that's kind of been used. It's mostly gone. You can imagine trying to get something out of that, you know? And if you're one of those people that's very particular, you got to start at the end, and someone else in your family uses it and they squeeze it in the middle, and then you're in this trouble where you can't get much out of here. You're struggling to get it out, right? That's your intestinal tract if you don't have enough sort of bulk. If you've got plenty of fiber in your diet, your body doesn't have to work very hard to move that product along. You're going to get that satisfying, you know, when you grab the toothpaste and you get something out of it. That's nice, right? So that's what we're talking about here. You know, there are a lot of people who get really blocked up. How are my loaves doing here? Not as well as I thought, actually. However, Bergen is taller than the sandwich loaf, and we started out the other way around, didn't we? So he's actually got his shape back. All right? There you go, look at that. Okay, so your digestive health relies a lot on fiber. Even this kind of fiber, like the chia, right, that bulks up as well. All right? So, what else does it do? Number 2 on the list, attracts water and turns to gel. Okay, so that's your soluble fibers. And so what that actually does is, as you're digesting, like it actually traps the carbohydrates, the sugars, right? And allows them to release slowly. Now, those of you here when I came last, which was, I think, last series, back in May, I think it was, we talked about carbohydrates, right? We talked about simple carbohydrates, which were the refined sugars that are very quick release, and we talked about the complex ones, which meant they would release slowly. Fiber has a lot to do with that, right? To release the sugars slowly. So guarantee that this one will absorb much more quickly. The white one will absorb in the intestine much more quickly than this one, because the sugars in here are bound up with the fiber and they're going to release and digest more slowly. So that's another benefit. Now, completely separate to that, plant fiber actually can absorb cholesterol, right? And actually latches onto it and it takes it out when you excrete. What happens is your body actually puts the cholesterol out into the intestinal tract, and then it can be reabsorbed. But if you have fiber in there, it'll grab it and take it out. So it actually can lower your cholesterol, and so it lowers your risk of heart disease. Oh, we're getting another one. It's blowing out there. For those online, we're getting a real storm outside. So it may regulate your blood pressure as well, which is really interesting. So that may help with metabolic syndrome, syndrome X they call it, and diabetes. Helps your food move through. We sort of talked about that. You know, we did talk about the toothpaste sort of thing. It helps food to move through. So you should get a a good 24-hour transit time. If you're not getting it, if you're getting, your transits are significantly longer than 24 hours, getting, from going in to coming out, then maybe it's not moving very well, right? So fiber actually helps that process, right? And the final point here, the benefit, I want to talk about that in the next couple of slides as well, is a prebiotic effect. It mentions here it balances your pH of your intestine and stimulates intestinal fermentation. So I want to go, and that's a reduction in cancer risk, but I want to actually talk about that on its own for a minute. And that is what they call prebiotic. Has anybody heard of prebiotics? Right? You've heard of probiotics. Okay. Probiotics are the little bacteria that live inside of you. By the way, there's more of them than there is of us. Right? By weight of DNA, there's more of them than there is of us. So there's a bit of debate of whether it's our bacteria or we're their human. Right? Okay? So they live inside of us and they actually do a lot of things for us. That's probiotic. That boosts that, right? But prebiotic refers to something that feeds them. Now remember we mentioned that fiber cannot be digested, right? It's not digested by you, but your little bacteria can make use of it, right? So we go back to our chia seed. The chia seed's got all lots of good things in it, but this, where's my spoon? The chia gel here can actually be used by the little bacteria that live inside of you, right? And they eat that, right? So it's actually really good for them. And so you feed them and they'll feed you, right? So that's really cool. So that's the thing about the soluble fibers and when it gets into you. So they're good, they're soothing, and they feed those bacteria. Health benefits due to fermentability. This is scientists writing. This is from the National Library of Medicine's online database. Let's go back to a chart. I read the word metabolites. That's the second in the chart, what they do, production of beneficial metabolites. And I'm, what's that? A metabolite is a chemical substance that's necessary for some part of metabolism, all right? So the bacteria in your intestinal tract actually create these different substances that we need to do different, chemical functions in our body. What's interesting is that it's a relatively new field to study what they call intestinal flora, or they're calling it the microbiota, It's a relatively new field. We don't know so much about it. We're learning much more and more and more, but the good thing is that you don't have to know all the science behind it, but if you feed them right, they'll take care of you, right? So what do? Increase calcium absorption, decrease in protein fermentation. So we looked at the junk food picture before that was high in carbohydrates and in proteins. It's simple carbs and proteins. So you find if you feed fiber to your gut bacteria, they're going to actually go over and utilize that. You won't be fermenting your proteins as much. Decrease in pathogenic bacteria. So you feed the good ones, and they'll displace the bad ones. It's kind of like, maybe not a good illustration, but I've started now. I live in the country. We have snakes, right? When we see a red-bellied black, we're happy, right? Because the red-bellied black, they are deadly, yes, but they're very shy, right? They don't harm you very much. They're much less likely to harm you. That didn't sound right, did it? They're less likely to actually be aggressive to humans, and they keep the other more aggressive species away. So maybe not a perfect illustration, but the good guys in your gut displace the bad guys, right? So you want to feed them, and their population goes up. A decrease in allergy risk. Why? Because they train our immune system, which is, what do I see here? Was there another allergy risk? An improved immune system of defense. So the third to last and last point there are related. It's to do with tuning up your immune system. So the intestinal bacteria actually talk to your immune system and sort of help you to figure out what's friend and foe. That's why, it's still a matter of sort of theory here, but in recent decades, we're seeing a rise in allergies, food intolerances and allergies and so forth. So it's a very complex field, but it's interesting that our intestinal bacteria sort of health is going down at the same time. Okay? So it could be common factors, could be linked, could be related, but they certainly do train your immune system. So it's important to feed them as well. And it mentions effects on gut barrier permeability. So there is a lining through your intestinal tract, and it's meant to stay sort of, what would be the word? The integrity of that system is meant to be maintained, but what happens if you get inflamed is that basically gaps in the defenses can open up and things can go through there. So I've experienced that because I've had autoimmune problems, I've had digestive problems, and so you'll find that bits of food that haven't been digested properly actually going through the intestinal lining, and they call that permeability, intestinal permeability. But if your gut flora is happy, that actually makes the whole system work better. So the prebiotic dietary fibers are really important for our health, right, all around, to keep you and your bacteria well fed and happy, all right? So it has a lot of awesome benefits, I guess you could say. So I really enjoy getting the different types of fiber in diet. So at home, we actually, every morning, we have either some chia or some linseed, flaxseed, to get, your insoluble fibers. The pectin in the apple is going to provide that as well. Then you're cooking your veggies. Some of them you're going to have raw, like I love spring onions raw. And again, you've got that, not slimy, right? Slippery sort of texture there. It's a different sort of fiber again. These are all created to benefit our body. All right, how's my loaves going? Okay, Bergen's nearly come back to his original. See that? What's done that? It's the fiber, okay? It's kept the shape. My poor little sandwich loaf hasn't fared very well. Yeah. So that's what it does inside your body. So you really want that fiber. There's so many sort of health benefits from the bulking and the feeding of your bacteria, the lowering of cholesterol, the lowering of the reducing the rate of absorption of sugars to spread that out. And I talked last time about simple and complex carbs, and I mentioned that. Remember I mentioned the story, I went out on a fire call as a volunteer, and I didn't get to have lunch. So I'm running on breakfast. But breakfast was a good, solid, but fiber-rich, whole foods meal, right? And so I ended up running on that all day long, which was not my plan, But my compatriots out on the fire truck were popping, they had some lollies there, and there was some other little bickies and things. But I'm gluten-free, I couldn't have that stuff. So I just went with water bottles, that's all I had, But their blood sugar was going like this, so they kept having to do this thing because they're on what I call the blood sugar merry-go-round, So fiber, whole food and fiber is really important to slow that all down and keep you even and steady. Right? So there's lots of benefits of fiber. Obviously, plant foods have fiber in them if we don't refine it all out, if we don't peel it all off, and it's really good for you. So quick tips for digestive health, of course. High fiber and a plant-based diet, that's what we're advocating here. A couple of other things I'm only chucking in here, not talking about much, but regular meal times as well. Eating it at a predictable time, that helps your body as well. Obviously having enough water to work together with that fiber to keep your gut healthy. And let's not forget exercise. We're talking about food, but exercise is really important as well. So my takeaway from this is that junk food may be convenient, right? Here's my play on words now. Junk food may be convenient, but with a little more work, you'll have better health, and your time in the toilet will be quick and easy. All right. That's all for me. Thank you very much. So now we'll check with the people out the back and see if they're ready in the meanwhile. Any questions about fiber? I'm not an expert, but we can brains trust it a little bit. So. Anybody not had chia seeds before? Everyone's, oh, it's good. Yeah. So you can, I love to put these with a fruit juice or with a milk. I use nut milks or soy milk and a little bit of sweetener, and it's a beautiful dessert. You can do lots of good things with that. We actually have a bread that we make, and we use flaxseed. And because we're gluten-free, which is another complication, right? But the flaxseed actually helps the texture of the bread, all right? So I actually put them in whole into the mix when we mix the batter, and it's in the recipe, but it's optional. And we said, let's try it. And we tried it, and it just does something for the texture of the bread. It's really cool. It's that soluble fiber that gets through, and it holds a little bit like egg in some ways. Yeah, and it sort of holds your bread together, so that's really cool. I'm stuck here. Can someone check with the ladies in the back? Can we get a message to them? Because I'm good to go. Yes. All right. I'll move all my props. How do you think we went? Was I unfair? Do you remember the size when we started? The sandwich bread was like that high, you know? So I think the Bergen bread, the wholemeal bread's gone back to sort of 3/4 maybe, and the sandwich bread is still at half. There you go. So we might salvage this one, but I think this one's going. This is going to go. All right. I might leave those there until we know what's going on. All right, slideshow's going down, Joe.
What about cereal?
Cereal. Yeah, okay, so cereal, that's a hot topic, isn't it? We try to choose a whole grain cereal, right? Which for us, because again, we're gluten-free, but you can do your porridge, your rolled oats. That's a whole grain, right? It's just been squashed, right? Your Wheat Bix is a whole grain, right? And then all your hot cereals typically can be a whole grain. Probably not semolina. I'm not sure, actually. Might be. It's probably halfway. But we will, if you're gluten-free, we do all the gluten, and you don't have to be gluten-free to enjoy a gluten-free grain. We actually do rice. We'll do brown rice. We'll do the quinoa or the buckwheat, and we'll do it hot, right? So again, it's a whole grain. Now you think, does that take more time? Yeah, that's why I do pick a Wheat Bix, which is a gluten-free option if you just need something to chuck in with some milk, you know, but you pick a whole grain. Now there's a bit of marketing trickery out there as far as cereals. You know, okay, you go down the cereals aisle and you'll see some that say nutritious and good for you, you know. Turn it around and read the fine print, right? And make a decision based on what's actually in it, right? Not the product shot on the front. Because I grew up with all the Cocoa Puffs and all this sort of stuff, you know, and Mum used to pick corn flakes, and she used to pick, it's been a long time, I don't remember, it's the American whatever, corn flakes, there was something else, you know. But she would pick the whole grains with less added sugar and you know, things like that. So we actually do a lot of cooked grains, and we don't add sugar into them, you know. So yeah, look for the whole. Again, when you leave it all together, when you leave it whole, you're not taking that, you know, certain nutrients out. What they did, and I think you'll find with these as well, in the United States, about 100-ish years ago, after the invention of the roller mill, they found that you could get pure white wheat flour. You could cleanly separate the outside of the grain and leave only the starch in the middle, the interior part of the wheat. And what they found is that people were starting to suffer from deficiency, right? And so it was decided to actually add certain vitamins and things back in, you know. And I watched a documentary, it's called The Great Grain Robbery, right? That's a take on train robbery. And it just talks about how when in the refining process, it's actually taken out a lot of nutrients. So did they add something in? Yes, they added thiamine and folic acid back in. There you go. So it's enriched, but not very much. Yeah. So if you pick your whole grains, that's in the form that it was naturally, you're going to get everything that comes with it, right? It could be a shift in taste, right? For example, we use brown rice. Not everybody is used to brown rice, right? So it could be a shift, and certainly not for breakfast. That's not, well, in some places it is for breakfast, yeah, but it for us has been a bit of a shift, and we got used to that. Again, but picking the whole grain option, yeah. So yeah, great question, yeah, because you want it to be quick, often, but there are choices that you can use, yeah. And I think what we find as well, if we choose like raw ingredients, grains that we get in bulk, like we'll buy 5 kilograms of brown rice, for example, or we'll get millet or quinoa or buckwheat, or you can get your wheat and your oats and things in larger quantities, then it is going to be cheaper as well than buying say a boxed cereal. I'm not against boxed cereal, but we feed a few people in our household, and so we actually buy things in more bulk, and then we'll cook them up for the whole family, and you'll have something substantial, but it's not going to cost a lot. Because we could smash through a whole box of cereal, no worries, or two maybe, in one go. So you're looking for that economy as well. All right, these props are ready to go. Well, they're definitely not waiting on the media team tonight. We are on the ball. How are we going, Tanya? All right. Is someone ready?
Oh,
I've been ad-libbing a little bit. We've been doing a few questions.
That's good.
You're going to take over the mic? All right. Here we go. That'll do.
Yeah.
And just in the pocket. Nice.
Thank you.
Are my props in the way? I might move them.
Just as long as we've got somewhere to put them. Yeah. All good. Good evening, everyone.
I should have introduced this as Tanya, for those who haven't met Tanya yet. All right, Tanya, take it away.
Thank you. How is everyone tonight? Very good. No, we don't look flustered, do we? No, not at all. Okay. You see nothing. It's all good. All right. So you may notice that on your recipe sheets tonight is a very Mexican type theme. So what I'm going to demonstrate to you first off, just get rid of this, is the easy baked tortilla chips. Now, for those that may have been here the last time, I know Paul's not here tonight, but that's okay. He was like, we can demonstrate to you how to make tortilla chips. It's okay. And I remember someone saying, all right, the next one is like, what happened to the tortilla chips? And Paul was like, yeah, we'll get there. Tonight's the perfect theme to actually show you how to make the tortilla chips. So we're going to start off very, very easy type recipe here. So I've got myself here tortillas. These are very small ones. Thank goodness Mission was on sale at the supermarket, so I was like, I'll get that instead of the Coles or Woolies brand. And this one here is actually the white corn. So you can use whatever, whether it be white corn, the yellow, or whether it's flour tortillas, whichever one you like, you can try or do this with any of them. So I'll just do 2 of them actually here. Okay, now what I've got here is a mix of your neutral oil and some lime juice, just to give a bit of a tang there, all right? So just mix that up together as per the ingredients on the sheet. I've got there 2 tablespoons of neutral oil, 3 tablespoons of lime juice. With this one, it was just leftovers from the samples we were making at the back. So with a brush, or even if you have a spray, you can just put that straight onto the tortilla wraps, just as is. And then here I've actually made up a mix. Now with this, look, you don't have to go out and specially get anything for it. Whatever you've got in your pantry, you can basically use whatever. What I've got here is 2 tablespoons of black garlic and chili seasoning. That has sea salt in it as well. And then I've got 2 tablespoons of onion powder and 1 tablespoon of paprika. Salt to taste afterwards, it's totally up to you. I've had to actually add a bit of salt after it's come out of the oven. But you just add this straight on, and you can use, like I said, whatever you have. Feel free to put whatever you have at home. No need to get anything special. And generously shake that on. And then what I've got here is a pizza cutter, but you can basically use scissors or a knife, totally up to you. And what I'm going to do is cut into wedges. Now, I get 8 pieces, eight good pieces out of this. So I'll just slice that up into the 8 pieces. And then I've got a tray here lined with baking paper, and these just go straight on. Just as is. No need to overlap them, just put them on the tray as is, and then pop them straight into the oven. Now, into the oven on 175 degrees Celsius, and then 7 minutes, or because, you know, every oven is different. So you just keep an eye on it. Once it's browned nicely, you sort of take it out, flip it over, and then it's totally up to you whether you want to then brush it again and put the seasoning on, and then straight back into the oven for another 7 or so minutes. But of course, you know, just checking on them. Once they're nicely browned, take them straight out, put them into a bowl, let them cool down a bit, and then you can just serve them with whatever dip or a salsa. It's very easy, and they're probably better off than the ones you buy at the store. So that's that one. Very straightforward, very easy. I'm going to take these to the back and pop them into the oven, and I'll show you a little bit later what they look like. They do come out looking just like that. So nice and crunchy and ready to eat. And that's it from me. And now I'm going to pass it on to Lydia for the next portion.
Thank you, Tanya. Thank you.
These ones.
Oops. We'll go on this side. Easier. Okay. Everybody, I hope you're not feeling too cold. That wind, hasn't it come up really hard, that wind? Oh, it's a bit of a worry. Here we are coming up to summer. You wouldn't think so, would you? Now, I'm going to make a very quick dip that is really nutritious, and it's a bean 7-layer dip. But in order to do that, I'm going to demonstrate 2 items for you that goes in that dip. One is a sour cream, and the other one is an aquafaba cheese. So for those that are allergic to dairy, they actually can have the aquafaba cheese because there is no dairy in it. And I will just open my... I'll start off with the sour cream. The sour cream is very easy. It's 1, 1, 1 and 1. It's 1 cup of soy milk, 1 cup of oil. I'm using rice bran oil, but you can use whatever oil you want. In case you're going to use olive oil, use the light olive oil because the olive oil can give it a bit of taste. So if you use the light, that's better. makes it taste nicer. And the juice of 1 lemon and 1 teaspoon of salt. So it's just 1, 1, 1 and 1. So it's oil, milk, salt and lemon. That's it. Everything goes in the blender. So everything goes in here. And so we'll put our milk. One cup of milk and 1 cup of oil. If you want to do half the amount, just put half a cup. If it's too much for you to have it all. And 1 lemon juice, that was a big lemon, and 1 teaspoon of the salt. And then we whiz it up until you can see that it's thickened up, okay? And I'll just do that for you. I'm sorry I'll be making a little bit of noise tonight, but yeah, just whiz that up. Almost done. Okay. All right, so that's a little bit liquidy because it just takes a little bit of time to set, but if you put this in the fridge, it'll set a little bit harder so you can use it. Now, there is something that you can do if you don't want to use so much oil. You can actually put some almond meal. So if you whiz up the almond meal with the milk first, probably I would say half a cup of almond meal. And then once it's really well whizzed up, then you can put the oil in and your lemon juice and your salt. And then I would reduce the oil by, start off with half a cup of oil, and then if you need a little bit more, just put a little bit more. But it's very, yes, it's very, very nice. And it'll just, sorry, I'll just get that out. It's very nice on baked potatoes or anything that you use sour cream for. And that's what it looks like. That will set. Okay, now for our aquafaba cheese. Who's heard of aquafaba before? Or who hasn't heard of aquafaba? Everyone knows what aquafaba is? It's the water that you take out of when you have a can of chickpeas or a can of beans and you've got the water. And that's what that is. It's the water from the chickpea. And this actually acts like the egg white. And if you whiz it up long enough, you can actually make meringue from it. Yes, it's a marvellous thing. So we're going to use, I'll just wait for the blender. I'm going to need the blender again. So we're just doing 1/3 cup of cashews and 1 cup of aquafaba, which is the water that I take out of the chickpeas. Don't throw your chickpeas out. Put it in a bag, a Ziploc bag in the freezer, and then the next time you make a curry or something, or hummus or something, you just take it out and use it. Or vice versa. If you're making hummus and you don't have, you don't know what to do with the water, don't throw it down the drain. It's really liquid gold. There is so much you can do with aquafaba. So just put it away. You can actually freeze it. You can actually freeze the liquid. And if you want to freeze it in little, you can do it either way, in half cups, if you measure half cups, and then you know exactly what you've put in the freezer. Or you can put it in a tray of ice block tray, ice blocks, and you just take a tray out when you need it. But then I would measure how many spoons go into that tray so that you have an idea what it is. So if the recipe says, 4 tablespoons or 10 tablespoons or a third of a cup, I'll need to take out 3 little cubes. Okay, so there is a few ways that you can, but don't throw the water, don't throw the chickpeas out. And tonight we're a little bit short-staffed. We've got 2 people away, and then my daughter had, at the last minute, she rang up this afternoon to say that her little boy wasn't well and she had to take him to the hospital. So that's why we kind of she was going to demonstrate some of the things tonight as well, so we're going to cover her, and I hope that Zachy feels better. And yes, so we'll see how we go. So bear with us if we miss anything, because we're trying to cover up for those that are not here as well. So Tanya and I are going to go full ball. Okay, so back to this. A third cup of cashews. Now, if you've got a Vitamix, you can just do what I just did. Just put the cashews in there. If you don't have a Vitamix, soak your cashews, okay, in hot water for about 20 minutes or overnight in cold water. And that makes it creamier and it makes it easier for it to be blended. So if you have an ordinary blender, it may not churn the cashews as well as the Vitamix. Then the 1 cup of aquafaba. On your notes there, you've got the tapioca flour. That's 1/3 of a cup of tapioca flour. I was going to bring the bag outside so I could show you a tapioca flour, but it's just a thickening. It's a flour that will thicken up things. 1 tablespoon of savoury yeast. Now, savoury yeast is very good. It's very high in iron, and it's very good for our nervous system, actually. And it gives it the cheesy flavour in the cheese. And I'm putting 1 tablespoon of lemon juice and 1 teaspoon of salt, and actually 1.5 teaspoons of salt in this batch. And I'm going to put a 1/3 of a cup of coconut oil. Now, I've been soaking this in hot water because the coconut oil comes in it's solid. So before you can use it, I just put boiling water in a little container and then it'll go to liquid. So 1/3 of a cup of coconut oil. And then, because I'm doing it in the Vitamix, I can whiz that up until it boils. Because the Vitamix, you can actually make soups and things in here. You don't have to worry about the motor burning or anything like that. And because it's got little holes on the lid, it lets the steam escape. So when you open it, it won't blow on your face. But in an ordinary blender, it will. So if you do have an ordinary blender, you can still make this. But what you do, once it's well blended, then get a saucepan, put it on the stove and cook it up until it boils, until the tapioca flour is cooked. But on the Vitamix, we're going to just do it. Now, I'm going to let it run. Actually, I wonder whether I should take it inside and just, because it'll take a while to churn until you can hear it. When it goes hard, you hear it. It just makes a different sound. It just goes like a, ooh, and then you know that it's ready. So while I have this whizzing up, I wash up my dishes and do whatever I need to do, prepare my dip, and then I can, and I hear it. I hear it when it's going hard. So I might ask Tanya if you could put that on inside, over there. Just listen, tell them to listen for the sound when it thickens up and when it's ready. And I will start on the dip. So now we're going to I've done the sour cream, and I'm going to whiz up the cheese, and you'll see it when it comes out. So while that's happening, I'm going to assemble a 7-layer dip. And those two components make up part of this dip. So if you're having a barbecue or something like that, I'm using kidney beans for this particular one. Just bear with me while I just take everything off the tray. I'm using also a salsa that's already in the bottle, okay? And I am also using a taco seasoning, okay, for this particular one. Now, it's very, very quick and easy to make. It's just layering all your ingredients. So first of all, I'm going to mix. What I have done, I have cooked the kidney beans, okay? I pre-cooked it. If you don't have time to cook, just buy the tins of refried beans, and you can do the same. You can get the same effect. It'll taste quite nice. So I'm just going to mix up these are the beans, the kidney beans that I've cooked, and just mash it up a little bit so that it gives it a little bit of, oops, this masher is not like but these beans, if you cook it on the stove, you can cook it. It takes, I think this one took about 1.5 hours, I think it took. With the pressure cooker, I usually cook about an hour. But if you pre-soak it, then it probably 45 minutes. But cook it until you feel that it's nice and soft and it's juicy. When I cook the beans, it's a good idea to put some in the freezer, whatever you don't use. So you cook a big batch and then put them in smaller containers in the freezer. I just put about this much water on top of the beans when it goes into cook. And just keep, if you don't have a pressure cooker and you're cooking it on top of the stove, just keep looking at it because you may add some boiling water as it absorbs. When you soak it, of course, you don't need so much. This here, what I've got here is a little bit of the water that I took out. So I'm just going to replace a little bit of this water just for moisture. And I'm going to now put the seasoning, the taco seasoning. You don't have to use this. You can put cumin and whatever other herbs you like. This is a quick way to do it. If you don't have time, it's still a fairly healthy option for your family. And just mix that up together, and this will be your first layer. So the first layer will be beans. The second layer will be salsa, and the third layer will be the aquafaba cheese that we're going to get out. You can hear it churning away in there. So I'll just get a fork. Okay. If you go on a picnic, you can actually make this in a... Can you hear the speed change? So, yep, I hope they switch it off. It's ready to go off. Good. If you put this in a square container, it fits in your esky. It's really nice actually to take away with you when you go on a picnic. And it's a healthy option because you've got your protein, you've got your salad, you've got your lots of fibre. You heard about fibre tonight, yeah? So let's do this quickly so that we can put that aquafaba cheese on top. Now, the aquafaba cheese is not only nice for this, but you can actually put on pizza, you can put it on baked potatoes as well. Anything that you would want to have cheese, you can replace the cheese with it. Okay. Oh, Joe, please. Thank you. I thought I did that, but it didn't work. Thank you.
$10?
Okay, and just put as much as you like on top. Just a nice coating of the salsa. Before you put the beans on the bottom, taste it for saltiness and for flavour. You may want to put some more seasoning. You may want to. I'm not going to use all of this up. I'm just going to use probably 2/3 of it. Then I'm going to put there's my cheese. Okay, have one more. And it's stretchy, see? It's nice and stretchy. And it's really good. It's good on pizza, actually. Very nice on pizza. So you lay your cheese. Now what you can do is you can do this the night before you go out, and the other components can go on after. Okay. Any questions while I'm doing this? No? Okay. The tapioca makes it stretchy, and some people believe, for me it doesn't matter, but some people think that the tapioca is better for your gut than the corn flour, but I have no idea. So if you can experiment, but the tapioca does make it stretchy. Okay, so... all right, so that's our cheese. Now, on top of that, I'm going to put some of that sour cream. That one is not setting for some reason. I think it's just, maybe I didn't let it whip up enough. Now, if you're not a vegan, you can just put the cheese and the sour cream that you want, but this is like, I would like to think that that's probably a healthier option for those that are allergic to dairy. And then we're going to make like a little salsa, a fresh salsa, by adding some corn, tomatoes, olives, and some spring onions. And for those that like coriander, you can add coriander here. Otherwise, you can leave it out. A bowl. Is there a bowl here? No? I've just got to find a bowl to mix all this in. Sorry, Tanya will bring it out in a minute. Yes, so I'm just going to mix these lovely salad items and then just put it on the top. And when you serve it, you can actually go deep in and just take a spoonful of it and you eat it with those chips or corn chips or whatever you like. And I've pre-made some guacamole because I thought everyone knows how to make guacamole. This one's only got the lime juice, it's on there, lime juice, salt and just the avocado. Thank you, Tanya. Okay, so corn. You don't need to measure. I put there roughly what I thought it might look nice, but you just mix that up. And I wouldn't put that on straight away when you're going on a picnic. I would take that, and just before you eat it, or at home if you have a barbecue, just before you eat it, then I would put the topping on. And that way you can, this is quite nice and fresh. So you've got your fresh foods, you've got your protein, you've got your bean, you've got your sour cream, your oils and fats, and it's a whole meal really when you think of it. Okay. If you don't like olives, you don't have to have olives. If you don't like corn, you don't have to have corn. So it's whatever you feel like or whatever you have at home. Yeah. Whoops. So it's quite a... when I was in the States, we went out and had a picnic, and my cousin took a big tray of this, and it was so good. It was just so tasty. And guac on top. And that's it. That's a nice summery meal, just about. And you'll get to taste this. It'll be coming around soon. And already. And for those who like coriander, that's me. Just sprinkle that on top. And there's your 7-layer dip. Thank you. Oops. Thanks, Tom. Any questions? And you can also, some people like it saltier, some people like it not as salty. So just, you know, it's whatever you like. There's no rule or regulation about it. Sorry.
Did everybody get it? I don't want you to miss out. We have a good service here tonight. I didn't know there were so many of them. Wow.
These kids are so good. They've helped us so much.
They are.
They're really good kids. So, how is it? Is it all right? Not bad? That's good. I love those chips, the tortilla chips that you make it. It's just so nice. Yeah. Okay. Now, I haven't sorted out with Tanya. Tanya, do you want to go next? What do you want to do? Will we do it together? We're going to do a burrito. Okay, so what are we going to do first? You want to do, you do this first. Okay, very good. Tanya's going to demonstrate one of the components of our burrito today.
You can use this one. I'll leave it here. Okay.
Yep.
Well, by the end of tonight, you'll be sick of us. We're just going back and forth, back and forth. All right. Now, in your next recipe, which is the burrito, there are a few components there. I'm going to show you the duck filling. Yeah, so if you have a look at your duck filling, it's very, very simple, very straightforward, this one. The chopping board when it disappeared. Yeah, thank you. Okay, so very simple ingredients. What I've got here is your green and red capsicum, so one of each. And then I've got 2 onions here. And then your duck, you're probably thinking, duck? Where's this duck come from? All right. This is the packet. You can find either, this one is actually from Woolies, but Coles also has one that's very, very similar. As to whether they're made by the same company, I don't know, but it's basically the same thing. So you've got here, it's a meat-free roast duck, and we will open it up. I'm just waiting for a chopping board to come, and then I'll show you what it looks like. So this one is very, very easy, straightforward type thing. We're just going to it's almost like a stir fry. Okay. So I'll open this up so you can have a look. And what I have here, so you'll probably get a few pieces there, just like that. Now, what I'm going to do with this is I'm just going to cut into strips. I might just halve this one. And then cut into nice strips. All I can hear is crunch, crunch, crunch. That must be, it must be very good. Okay, so I'll quickly chop these, I'll slice these up. Just into strips. Sorry, if you don't mind just turning on the stove there, please. Oh, just on low for now. Thank you. Yep. I'll cut this one in half too. You should be able to get some good amount of strips out of this. This roast duck from either Woolies or Coles, I think it's about $8 a packet. So, yeah, it's a vegan, plant-based. Okay. I'll just put that to the side. Okay, with your onions, I'm just going to slice them up. Just as is, just like that. Oh, sorry, Lydia. I've just forgotten to bring out some oil. Please. All right. I've forgotten to put some oil onto my tray. But you've got there in your recipe sheet some oil, just enough there to fry off the onions. So I'll just, thank you. I'll just put in, doesn't want to come out. There we go. Thank you. Okay, now once the pan is heated up a bit, the oil's there, we're just going to add our onions in. Thank you. And we just fry that off until the onions are translucent. Who here is a Mexican fan? Who loves their Mexican? Pretty good, isn't it? I mean, you've got a lot of places like your Zambreros, you've got your GYGs, all these different Mexican places. Well, you know, why not just make one for yourselves at home? It's just much better. At least you know what's going into it. Okay. Once that's got a little bit of colour on it and it's turned translucent, to that I'm going to add my green and red capsicum. And we're just going to cook that down.
Don't the colours look beautiful? When you're cooking veggies, different coloured veggies are so beautiful. Makes you feel happy.
That's what food does to you, makes you feel good. Okay, now to that, I've got here some sweet soy sauce. I think it's there as 2 tablespoons. So I'm just going to add that straight into it. And then I've got the chicken stock powder. I think that's 1 teaspoon, yeah. So the Marcel chicken style stock powder. Just mix that in. Which is also vegan, it's plant-based, yes. Now this is usually Amy's, she's the one that usually cooks this up, so usually when she brings this to lunch on Saturdays, it disappears straight away, nothing left. So it must be good. Okay, that's cooked down, and then I'm going to add straight into that the roast duck. Now, because this is going into a burrito, you may find that at the end it does create a bit of liquid. You can drain the liquid because you don't want your burrito going soggy. Okay, so just keep that in mind. So don't look at it and think, oh, what have I done wrong? Why is it, why is there so much liquid? It's basically just all the liquid that's coming out of the capsicums, really. So, and that's basically it. Once that's done, you basically just mix it through, and it's then ready to serve on your burritos as the veggie component to it. So I don't know whether you'll then have it looking like that, very colourful, yeah? And that will just sit here, or actually I'll put it aside. And then Lydia is going to show you the next few components to.
Okay, I'm back again. This is a very quick way of making rice. I'm using the brown basmati rice that I've already washed, and it's ready to go. And in a saucepan, it doesn't have to be this size, it can be a lot smaller, but that's the one I had here. So I'm going to just put 2 tablespoons of oil of your choice. It can be whatever oil you like. I'm using rice bran oil for this one. And some diced onion, 1 diced onion. And just make that a nice, just saute that for a little bit. And it's a very quick and easy way of making rice. So I've got here 1.5 cups of rice, and I'm going to put 2.5 cups of water, okay? I've just boiled the jug. And so what I do, because we don't want to keep you too late today, we might just sort of have that going while I do something else. So we're just going to saute the onion, put the rice in, salt to taste, and then the water, and then just let it simmer. Okay, so while that's happening, I'm going to do my beans, because in the burritos we've got rice and beans and the duck. Okay, so So these I'm going to use black beans, which we have cooked previously. So black beans, and I do the same sort of thing. I brown or saute some onion in a pot, put oil, 2 tablespoons of oil, and onion. And I'm going to, good job, thank you, Tanya. We're going to try multitask here sorry, but the time's just flying, isn't it? And I don't want to hold you back too long. Okay, so I'm going to put into the beans, they're already cooked, they have no flavouring whatsoever, not even salt. So you've got to put everything in it. So I'm going to do the onions with a little bit of garlic, and then I'm putting some smoked paprika, some cumin. They're the 2 herbs that I'm going to add to it. So garlic and onion, cumin and smoked paprika. That will go into the beans. And then when we do the burritos, we're going to put both of them. So I think, Tanya, I'll look after that, if you want to show them how to wrap up the burritos. And I'll just keep going with this while she'll show you what we do with it, okay? I'll just pop this over here. Because, that's got to go down. I've got to give you the microphone, Tanya.
It's like playing musical chairs.
Yes. Okay. You can have this for a starter.
Thank you.
Okay, this one's ready for the rice to go in. So just put it dry like that. I did wash it before. So that's 1.5 cups of rice. And then salt to taste. About a teaspoon probably. And then I just let the rice kind of brown a little bit. And then that helps it to stay nice and loose. It doesn't get sticky. And then I'll put 2.5 cups of water, boiling water, okay? And while Tanya's now going to show you how we wrap it all up. This one's got to turn down as well.
All right. I never worked at Zambreros, so just forgive me if I don't wrap it up how it should be. But the thing that I've noticed about this is you don't overfill it, okay? The last thing you need is to not be able to wrap it. If you want, to have a burrito that's full on, it's a big burrito, get the bigger wraps. This one is just a normal size, average wrap. But if you want something that's a little bit bigger, I know that the Coles brand, they have the jumbo wraps. Grab yourself 1 packet of those and feel free, just go for it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is add my rice right to the middle. We've been practicing all afternoon. Okay, so hopefully we've got this right. Okay.
Amy was going to do this demonstration, and she's really good with her wrapping and knowing how much to put, and we're just like, how much do we put of this stuff? Because if you put too much, you won't be able to wrap it, and it's really hard.
Okay. So we usually sort of, with this size wrap, it's like a teaspoon, or, you don't want to go too much because there's a lot of filling. Okay, now to that we're going to add a little bit of that duck filling. Now it's totally up to you. If you don't want to put certain things in there, you don't have to. It's burrito to your liking, okay? So just add that onto there. And then we're going to add a little bit of lettuce. Shredded lettuce there. And then to that, I'll just grab another You go for it.
If your beans look a little bit, when I strained the beans, I kept the water. So if it does look a little bit too hard or not moist enough, just put a little bit more of that water in it so that when you put it with the rice, it kind of goes through.
All right, so I've just added a little bit of salsa. Now, once again, to your likings, if you like it spicy, grab yourself a spicy. This one is just a mild one, so. And then we've got the sour cream that was demonstrated a little bit earlier. Just adding that on. And last but not least, we've got some guacamole. Now's the test. Am I going to be able to wrap it up? Okay, I've watched them do it. As to whether I'll do it right, well, that's another. Oh, well, it's not too bad. And there you go. You've got yourself a mini burrito. I'll just.
You want to do one more?
I think I'll leave it at
Just
that.
leave
Yeah, yeah.
Good job. Very good.
Very straightforward. All right. Maybe we should give you some samples.
Any questions? The rice was cooked. The one that she had was already cooked. The one that I'm making is cooking now. Okay, so. Yes, it is brown basmati. I'll get a packet and I'll have it up here so you can have a look. Okay.
Yep. It's over here. How's it tasting? All right, excellent. Well, that brings us to our final demonstration for you tonight. It is something that is so good, you won't believe that it's vegan, like honestly. So I'm going to get Abby.
This is the rice packet, okay? This is the rice packet, so you can come and have a look at it after you like. And that's our cashews.
Someone, a different face for you to look at tonight. So Abby, they're all excited to see you. Oh, I'll put this in your pocket. That's it.
Okay. All right, can everyone hear me? Yeah? All right, so how's everyone doing so far? Good? All right, guys, just as Tanya has mentioned, we got one more recipe to get through tonight, and that is my mango sago drink. So, what we are going to look at first, actually, let me just chuck out a fun fact. Did you know that different mangoes have different benefits, such as yellow mangoes, they promote more eye health, whereas mangoes redder in colour, they are more anti-inflammatory properties and antioxidants. So first step, let's get into it. Our tapioca pearls. Now I had already prepared ours just to save some time. So this is what it's supposed to look like before cooking, and this is how it is after cooking. So in order to cook it, we'd want to boil our pot first. So that is 1 cup of sago to 6 cups of water and 1 cup of milk. Now, in this demonstration, I'm going to be using soy milk. It's up to you what milk you want to use, almond milk, oat milk, but today we'll be using soy. So what you want to do is boil your cup of milk and 6 waters into a pot. Once the water is boiled, you want to put in your tapioca pearls and give it a stir for about 1 to 2 minutes. Once that is done, just pop your lid over and just let it boil and simmer. Once it is all boiled and cooked, make sure that it is translucent and clear, just like this. Obviously, it's not going to look like this. I had added milk to keep it separated. Once it is cooked, you want to put it in a strainer and run it under cold water, just so it keeps it separated and doesn't stick together. And then you want to add it to a bowl with about half a cup of milk. So it looks like this. Now, on to our next step, blending the mango. So what we want to do is have about 4 mangoes and just cut it up and just place it in our blender just like that. Oh, now 3.5. 3.5. Oh well. So what we want to do, add just a little bit of milk just so it can blend well. Yeah, that should do it. And just give it some time to blend. Make sure it is thoroughly blended because you do not want any chunks of mango in your food. Now, as shown here, I'm not sure if you can see it, but it is still a bit rough. So just add more milk if you need to, just like that. And keep blending. Alrighty. So now that we have got our blended mango, what you want to do is just cut up your mango just as if you're cutting it up for your child. Just scoop out the pieces, just like this. Now that we have all our ingredients, our blended mango, our pieces of mango, our tapioca pearls, our sweetened coconut condensed milk. So if you are interested in buying this, this is from our store, from downstairs. Just see Tanya afterwards. And milk of your choice. So now is the fun part. Just mix everything together. So what you want to do is put it in. And then add in your pieces. Doesn't seem to come out. And your condensed milk. It's vegan friendly, by the way. Very nice. Our tapioca pearls. And lastly, our milk. And there we have our mango sago drink. Just give it a little stir. And for a better chilling taste, I should say, just add some ice and put it in the freezer. But there we go. Now we will have the samples come out. They'll come out soon. But yes, that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you.
we're right on time. By the time you have your drink, it'll be a minute late, but we tried. Any questions from any of you? No? Well, that's good. That's good. It won't be long. They're just serving the little glasses. So, yes. This is a coconut condensed milk. It's a plant-based condensed milk. I guess it is necessary to put it because otherwise it won't taste as nice. You could do it without it, but it won't taste as nice. Yeah. You can have coconut condensed milk, or you can have a soy condensed milk. You can buy that from Coles or downstairs in our shop. We've got that in our shop downstairs, so you're welcome to come down and have a look. How are they going with the samples? It's almost there.
They want to make it look really good for you. They're garnishing it with fruits, and I'm like, just bring it out. They'll enjoy it without it. It's okay. But they're like, no, wait. It's coming. So it's like, yep.
Joe, did you want to say something? I can see you trying to get up here. No? Here.
I just want to save you. Just a couple of things. Don't forget the shop downstairs, and I think we still have discount tonight. Yes, Tanya?
10%
10% off, okay. This is a community service from our little church here. We do take donations, though. We don't charge you for 4-course meals, we just give it to you. But if you want to donate something, we are happily accepting. Sorry, here they come. So don't forget, after this, you can go downstairs, have a look in the shop if you need anything. Do we have any Mexicans here, by the way? No Mexicans? Phew, we are safe. No Mexicans. No, everybody loves Mexican. It's funny, Lydia was mentioning Brazil when we were there. Did you know that when you drive on the highways and freeways, service stations, they all have restaurants. And one of the main meals every one of them has is rice and beans. A couple of different types of rice and then a couple of different types of beans. And then everything else, all the salads. And they sell it by kilos. You don't stay hungry in traveling in Brazil. So it's because it's very good for you, and I know it's beans and rice. It's almost a perfect food protein. Yeah. So we hope that you have enjoyed it. We have one more coming next week, Monday, and don't forget to come back. I'm sure that Nathan asked you in the beginning, do we have anybody here for the first time? Look at that. Lovely. Are you going to come back? I think that's the question. Good on you. Good on you. So you did well, girls. You did well. Okay, considering there is a shortage in the back. Tanya, Lydia, and don't forget all the other ones in the back in the kitchen that you can't see. Well, you can see them here. They did really well. And, well, I'm not happy with our daughter because she missed out, because I ended up in the kitchen washing dishes. Anyway, somebody has to do it.
Chopping onions and tomatoes.
I enjoy it, actually. Yeah. So if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask Tanya and Lydia, and have a look what's here.
When you want to cook something, don't be scared to do what you feel like doing. There's no wrong way about it. You make a mess of something, you turn it into something else, and you just call it something else. It doesn't matter. So just have a go and just make the most of it and enjoy it. The main thing is for you to enjoy cooking. Some people like things done a certain way, others, different. So we're all different, and that's what makes it so special. So don't be frightened. Have a go, and if it doesn't turn out, call it something else. Yeah. It's lovely to see you all, and it's lovely to see our new faces, and I'm happy that you've enjoyed yourself, so thank you very much.
Also, I'd like to thank Nathan. Now, he's a visitor. He's from Melbourne, actually, but he was our local, and then he disappeared on us. And he loves Mexican. That's why he goes south, Mexico, Victoria, same thing. But we hope that you keep coming back. And Joe, we thank you for manning the electronics over there. Now, before we leave, I think we'll just have a word of prayer, and then you can ask questions and finish. You can talk among yourselves. So let's just bow our heads. Our loving Heavenly Father, we are so thankful that we had this privilege this evening to be able to share the bounties that you give us day by day. Help us to learn how to be healthy, because we know that healthy body is healthy mind, and we want to encourage one another to be as healthy as possible. Keep us safe as we leave from here, and we are looking forward to seeing each other again next week. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Thank you all for coming. Oh, sorry. Now, does it taste good? You enjoying that? Small glasses, though, yeah. Well, we'll have to sign a petition, make it bigger.
These are all our helpers here.
Come on, helpers.
Come on,
Everybody out.
come on. These are all our helpers.
It's so nice to have all these young chefs for the future. Some of them are very shy. Look at them all. Thank you so much for your help too. Thank you, and God bless you all. Don't forget the shop downstairs. We have somebody already there waiting for you. And if you need anything, you're very welcome. Lydia, Tanya, thank you. Glad you enjoyed it.